to our lovely presentation. If it works. Can we see a blank screen or
what is the croc roll?
Oh, hang on.
Blank screen at the moment.
Blank screen.
Yeah, blank screen.
I'll try again.
I just saw it and it went away.
Yeah, but it's when I get back. Oh, we'll just run it from here then. Okay, so from the 1st of July 2024, in the middle of our season last year in Sweden and in Denmark, same as here, they haven't implemented this yet. We have a number of law changes that we will now implement. I'm just going to go through them all slide for slide, and we can ask any questions as we go along. So the first one of law changes is no croc rolls. So there's a little video going to probably start playing when I take this one, or not yet, but there might be in a minute. So the rationale for this was at the Shape of the Game conference in March 24, the croc roll is dangerous and it needs to be removed for player welfare. And it involves a downward action on the jackler's back and lower half, and then they roll to the ground. And they're no longer going to allow this. This is very similar to what we've had in the past in the hitting the legs of players in that jackal position, but now it's involving that twisting motion for the jackler. And there's a little video here.
What is the croc roll? What does it look like? And what are we allowed and not allowed to do? So, first of all, we have a jackler coming in over. Perfect, right? Good position. So the croc roll would be this, right? If I stand round this side, player comes in, the arriving player, he needs to destabilise this jackler. He slams down onto the lower back hips area and wraps round tight and then rolls out across this outstretched knee, right? Perfect, man, that's good. All right, so literally, that is the croc roll, and it's now banned and not allowed. Now, that would be your twist. That would be a croc roll with a twist where the player's gone long, but he's slammed down onto the hips, so there's no drive or dive. You know, we always talk about drive, not dive. In this situation here, the player is putting all his weight down onto the hips and lower back of the jackler. He's then wrapping around the waist, low as he can, and he's rolling out over the foot. So let's just see it one more time. We'll just go through it in slow motion. So jackler's in, attempting to lift. In he comes, slams down here, rolls out, and literally falls onto this outstretched knee. And that's where we're getting all our problems. The other one is, instead of twisting or that clamp, what he's doing is he's pulling. So he's actually gone further past the body, but he takes this hand here. Sometimes it ends up round the neck, which is illegal anyway. The referee would pick that up. Or he drags or pulls from pretty much underneath the armpit where there's an anchor point, and he still drags the body across, but you've gone past it. And again, there you go. You're landing on that outside leg. And this time it's a pulling action, and that's just as dangerous. So those two techniques have now gone from the game.
Okay, is that clear on the video?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. I'll move on to the next slide. So,
is it just the roll, or is it the actual impact that's been banned, or is it the roll?
We'll get to that in a second. So the crocodile roll of what's been banned is a prohibited action where the player laterally rolls or twists or pulls a player who is on their feet in the tackle area to the ground. And the action often lands on the player's lower limbs. So we're looking at hitting knee and lower part of that area. So what we'll see is a twisting action. So there'll be a wrap, roll, a twist, as just demonstrated on that little video. And the jackler will drop his weight onto the lower limbs, near to them. Or it'll be a pulling action where they pull and they drop their whole weight onto that lower limb area. So you'll see the player then pulled and their leg will twist over there. And it'll be pull the jackler around or onto their heads or neck, or pull the jackler forwards onto their heads or neck. The key communication for us as referees is drive, not dive. So we're looking at players being driven backwards and then going to ground. Some good examples. Got another little video here, if we can all see it.
I have to enlarge it.
If I can. Oh yeah, there you go. See if I can restart it. Oh.
Yeah.
So here's the example now. players go to ground, Jackler's there, and he's got underneath the Jackler, yeah, and then uses his force to drive him forward. You can still use the leg, and he drives him off. Same again here. Jackler's on the ball, gets underneath the Jackler and drives him off the ball. So that's perfect.
Interesting action.
So this there. So he's underneath the Jackler. So he's got his arm underneath there and he's driven him backwards. We'll see another similar example here. First player on. Both players then using a drive in action. So they're actually driving, pushing forwards there. So it's a push. So he's got his arm under and they're driving him. Pair of them. And there'll be a clamp and drive through now. So they'll clamp onto his back and they'll drive forwards. They won't be actually twisting him or pulling him to ground. So they've clamped onto him and then driven him backwards. So he hasn't gone onto his lower limbs. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Or do you want to watch it again?
Clear.
They're the good pictures of what we're looking for. Okay?
Yeah. And what's the signal for that?
It's penalty.
Yeah, I know that. What's the signal?
Yeah, just make
Hand
a
signal.
hand signal. We'll have to look it up in the book for a croc roll. I think there's look it up in the law book.
Yeah, good one.
Prohibited action with the player laterally thought. There's the law wording. Pulls a player on their feet to the tackle area. So they changed the law. They put this in there. It is now dangerous and in there. Law 20D and E, dangerous play in a ruck and maul. A player may remove the Jackler from tackle area by pushing, driving them backwards, including grabbing the knee, but must not roll, pull, or twist an opponent.
Yeah, you got to look for the pull and twist mainly.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's the first. Yeah.
A player must not drop their weight onto the opponent or target the lower limbs. The lower limbs have been in law a while now, so we've been penalising that already. And the new to the clause 14.8, other players must not roll, twist, or pull an opponent who's involved in the tackle to the ground. So you can't roll them, pull them to the ground with you. So that's, again, a penalty. And sanction-wise, foul play involving a player past the point of initial contact forward, risk of dropping on limbs or hyperextension. So there's risk of injury there if we do this on the lower limbs, and it's serious injury. So this can put players out of the game for the season if they twist those knees and have those injuries. So this is similar to the head contact protocol for the level of sanction based on the degree of danger. So croc roll with a drop near or onto the lower limb with low or medium danger, we're looking at penalty or yellow card. And if there's a croc roll with a drop onto the lower limb causing a hyperextension of the leg, so if you're landing on that knee and causing it to hyperextend with that pull and roll, we're looking at high level of danger and we're looking at red cards immediately. It might not look bad to people, but it's extremely dangerous for that player on the ground who's being hit. We can show some examples here. If I can get these videos to work.
There is no signal for it.
There is signal.
There's no signal.
It'll be dangerous. Just make a grab and a twisted motion.
There's a signal for collapsing a ruck, though.
Yes, there is.
There, you see here where he's pulled the player over. So here, Jackler's on the ball. Look at the white player's actions. He pulls him over. So he's not hyperextended. He hasn't hit the leg. So we're looking at penalty only at that one.
He's missed it.
Again, he pulls the player out. Doesn't land on the leg, but he's near to the lower limbs. Yeah, and he's made that twisted motion. He's close and near to it, but hasn't hyperextended the leg. We're looking at penalty to yellow card. Anybody who can pull Bundyaki out of a tackle, I'm quite impressed with. Yeah, but again, here you see he's landed. Ireland player goes over around the hips and makes that pull-in motion. Again, no hyperextension on the leg, just penalty yellow card area. So you have to make that decision on the pitch yourselves.
Basically, like that last one was fairly, if you compare the other ones they showed was very near the leg.
Yeah.
Would that be for all of us
What do you think?
a good video to look at or have in mind for a yellow card?
What do you think? play it again.
Play that again.
I can't scroll forward to it, so
Oh yeah, don't know where we can look at it because
wait a second.
if you look at we can look at the examples. How close is it to the leg?
So this one here,
This one, nope, not really pressure on it or
the
close
leg
to it.
doesn't hyperextend it. The leg really doesn't hyperextend it.
He's missed it.
So that the first one, yellow card. I mean, sorry, penalty.
Yeah,
This
there,
one
it's pulled straight out.
and this one, penalty. What do you think?
Any objections to that?
Have a look where he's grabbing.
I mean, I'm just looking at.
Yeah, he's around the neck as well, isn't he?
So here, he's around the hips, pulling
And
the
he's,
player out.
he's
landing
some
on the
some
leg.
contact,
Yes,
yeah, some contact on the leg.
So for that last one, you're looking probably at a yellow card.
Because what I would like to have some videos in my mind when I see these happening when I referee, and if I have this video for a yellow card.
And we watch the
All
next video.
Suez, just bubbled the catch, and New Zealand rushed up on him, and then over the ball.
What was that?
One here now.
Suez, just bubbled the catch, and New Zealand rushed up on him, and then over the ball.
So the Australia, he's done the holding on penalty for not releasing the ball on the ground, but the player has actually pulled him backwards. If you watch it again,
Suez, just bubbled the
look at the action to number 8
catch,
here.
and New Zealand
Pulls
rushed
the
up
player
on him,
head
and
first
then
into the
over
ground.
the
He's
ball.
pulled him down, rolled him, twisted him, and pulled him his head into the ground. So then we're looking at another yellow card there, possibly.
Oh, for the orange, right?
Yeah, for orange.
Number
Australia.
8 there.
They prefer Australian.
They prefer gold, but
Uh,
don't say orange on the pitch if you got the Aussies there. They love to be called gold.
Suez,
Right, and now we have a red card situation. Let's move that one out of the way.
oh, is it going to be nasty?
You are left playing with La Rochelle in this second half.
I hate nasty.
Very.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
That's
there.
Oh, Jesus.
What's
Look
the
how
knee
he
there?
landed exactly on the
Oh.
leg there and hyperextended it. Look at the pain on that guy's face as
Yes.
he's been
Oh,
taken out.
fuck
So
it.
here,
I
right
hate
on the leg,
Very well read. You saw Cameron Watkey was shadowing him,
another one
Then
from the
O'Rourke's time.
Racing game.
smashing into the Union
Oh,
World.
fuck.
Or is it? No, is it Argentina?
Oh,
So you see the clear picture. So he's landing
Yeah.
directly on the leg there. He's gone to roll him out. That's a clear red card there. And again,
is there many more?
back, right on the leg, right on the knee,
Hand up.
hyperextending the leg. You see the extension there.
Yes.
Clear red card. This is probably the one that's going to take the longest to go through.
That's it.
How do you think players are going to react when we actually end up
Let you go
red
now.
carding somebody this year if this happens?
If we what? What did you say?
The first players that if this happens to in the next games in this season, how do you think they're going to react? Or the coaches?
Depends on how clearly you make it at the pre-match talk.
I mean, if there's an injury, I mean, if it's a red card situation, most people probably can understand it. But
Straight into the
the
lower leg. Yeah.
but the penalties and yellow cards might be argued against.
I see until players get used to this being illegal, because I don't know if coaches will be coaching it, because I know it's been coached in the past, especially in sevens. So we have to be aware that there might initially be a negative reaction to us giving cards to this, and people ringing me saying they've overreacted. So don't worry about it. Don't take that into account at all. If you see this happen, what should you do in that worst case scenario?
Oh, the red ones.
So
Okay.
we give a red card as normal, and
Yeah.
and let me deal with the politics behind it. Okay,
Yeah, of course.
are we all
That's
clear?
the job.
Croc roll is and the difference between penalty, yellow card, and red card.
One thing that I've got to mention is that you've got to be consistent with this. You can't just see one and then go and see the others. Otherwise, you have to have coaches on your back. Why didn't you see this one? Why didn't you see that one?
Mm.
Means
So
we
you have
still
to be
do the
consistent
game
with
that
it.
we normally do. We still work on our positioning. We still run.
Yeah.
We still get to the breakdown
Yeah.
of the third man. We do all the basics right, and then we get this right.
And of course, if you choose to have stand on the other side of the rock and the crocodile roll go to the other side, and you don't have ARs, you might miss it.
We
Yeah.
might miss it, but let's try not to. Work hard.
Of course.
Let's keep our work rate high.
Free
Okay,
game management.
I'm going to move on to the next one now. So the next law change we've got, no scrum option from a free kick. This is very simple.
There is
So this is to speed up play to avoid multiple resets. So if there's a free kick, there is no
It has to,
longer
yeah, it has to be a free
scrum
kick.
option, free kick. So they've taken the word free kick out of law 20.3, 20.4.
Yeah.
A team awarded a free kick at a line out may instead choose a line out of the same mark as well. So if there's a line out and there's a free kick at a line out, they can choose to have a line out again. Okay. But for a scrum, they may not choose a free kick from a scrum. So if you give a feeding at the scrum, and you give the free kick for it, Rami, because you're the only one in Sweden who gives feeding at the scrum. We give the free kick and they cannot take another scrum. They have to take the tap and go. And this is in line to speed up the game.
Yes.
Also it includes the mark. So for players in the act of claiming a mark, and unable to take the free kick within 1 minute, a teammate may take the free kick. So before it had to be the same player taking the free kick, but if that player is injured and unable to take the free kick within a minute, a teammate may take it in their place, which they couldn't do before. The law wasn't
Yes.
there. Okay. So no scrum from a free kick. What happens if we have cheating from the weakest scrum? What do we think? There's a few answers there. So referees should manage this situation strongly. If you think that teams are taking a step backwards to get that early push, to get the free kick, to get that tap and go, then, we need to be very, very strong on that and manage these situations. So we could reset them originally and not free kick those offences originally, or we could and make sure that we're getting it right. Or if there's a clear forward push early, then we obviously free kick it. Deliberate infringement of the laws of the game is an offence, so you could sanction a penalty in this case instead of a free kick. And then they have the option of the scrum again if they want it. Repeat offences can be escalated to penalty in the usual way. And then quick tap. So if there is a free kick now, we expect to see more quick taps at the scrum, which means we need to be prepared. So if there is a free kick, we need to be prepared. So where's the ball going to go?
Number 8.
Number 8 or the 9 at the back.
Yes.
One of the two of them. So then expect a very quick tap at that point behind the scrum. Let's make sure they are behind the scrum, roughly in the right area. Don't have to be completely anal about it. And defending players who aren't 10 meters must retreat. Yeah. So we need to manage that area and make sure that players are aware that they do not tackle people. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, and law number 3 change. Offside in front of the kick. Now, this is the one that's going to be fun to manage for all of us.
Yes.
So there are a few changes now to the law. A player is offside in open play if that play is in front of a teammate who is carrying the ball, who last played it. So the offside player must not interfere with play. And this includes playing the ball, tackling the ball carrier, preventing the opposition from playing as they wish, and loitering in an offside position.
He's got to retire.
Loitering means they cannot stand still anymore. If they are more than 10 meters from the ball where the ball lands, they cannot stand still. They have to retreat. So all players in front of the kicker now, if there's a kick in open play, need to make an effort to retreat. So an offside player may be penalised if that player does not make an effort to retreat and interferes with play or moves forward towards the ball. Or they've removed the word forwards. And now if they move towards the ball, they're now now may be penalised. So they must retreat towards their own try line until they are back onside. So other than law 10.4c, which is the 10-metre law, I think, an offside player can be put onside when an onside teammate of that player moves past the offside player and is within or has re-entered the playing area. So if they stepped off the field, so on, they can put them back on. So an onside team player moves past the offside player, or an opponent of that player, they've removed carrying the ball 5 meters, they removed passing the ball. So they can kick the ball, so they kick it back, everyone's back onside again, their own players are now offside, or they intentionally touch the ball without gaining possession of it. So we're looking at failed charge downs. Okay.
Yep.
So those are the two that will put a player back onside. So you've gone for a charge down, it's been touched in flight, players are back onside again. So that's the only ways the opponent can now put you back onside. Is that clear?
Crystal.
So what do we need to look at in these situations? Who are we looking at for putting players back onside?
You're looking at the player who's kicked the ball, and then you're also looking at where the ball is going to land, and you're looking at the players who need to retreat immediately. You're going to have to yell, and you're going to have to tell them what to do, because they're just going to stand there looking like statues.
Yeah. So the players, everybody in front of that kicker or in front of players behind him who are putting players onside needs to retreat. So those players in that kicking position and players behind him need to do what? To help their teammates get onside. What do they need to do?
They need to
move towards their own goal line.
They need to move
away from the ball.
Exactly. So they need to move towards the opposition. Now the players who kicked the ball, the ones who are onside, need to move forwards to put their own teammates onside. Now, what I've seen coaches, I've spoke to one or two of the coaches in Latvia because they've been playing this law from last season, second half of it, and they said they've been penalised because their players are lazy. They kick the ball and don't run forward. So they don't move to put their players onside because they used to know that if a player carried the ball 5 meters or passed the ball, all the players in front of them would be back onside again. So they didn't need to run forward. Now that is not the case anymore. So we're going to see a lot more of players running the ball back. And we're going to see a lot of the fullbacks catching the ball, kicking it, but not moving forwards in any way. So all those players are onside until that fullback puts them back onside again.
So, sorry, if I understand correctly, the player who kicks the ball has now run.
Yeah, the play or anybody onside behind him.
Yeah. Okay, like before, the fullback kicks it.
Yeah.
Usually wingers run.
You have the winger running past him to chase the ball. They usually get some speed up, so when he kicks the ball, he's already going full speed, keeps on going, and as he passes each player, he puts him back onside. The players have to retreat. That's one thing, but that player has to move forward to put them all back onside again. Otherwise, they're going to have to run back all the way back to their own 22 or wherever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be aware of those players running forward, not putting players on side. Because I've heard that in games in Latvia, especially, Vadim, you could probably vouch for this, but in players in Latvia, some of the fullbacks they've forgotten to run forwards. It's nothing to do with not doing it or anything. They've just forgotten and been penalised for it correctly. And the coaches I've spoken to have all said, basically, all the coaches I've spoken to basically have said, we should be penalised in this situation. So you have to penalise us to wake our fullbacks up so that they get used to running forward.
Yeah.
So be aware of that and be aware that players have to run backwards. So how's that going to affect your positioning as a referee to make sure you can see the players are running backwards?
Pretty much, instead of standing still now, you have to pretty much run with the ball and the player chasing the ball, so you can figure out who's going to be onside and who's offside.
Yeah, so you're going to have to do a little bit of running, work out, and put yourself in a good position to see it all. Okay. So what if the kicker receiver intentionally plays the ball with a hand or foot without gaining possession? The kick receiver. So plays the ball with their hand or foot, don't gain possession, so they basically just stop the ball on the ground, or just stop it with their hand. If it's bouncing, it goes backwards. All the players in front of the kicker must have been retreating. If the ball is played, so attempted or trapped with the feet, the onside players can then move forward once the ball has been touched.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm. What we're saying is that those players that are offside,
So if they
when
do
the kick,
not
when
pick
they
it up,
retire, as they retire,
yeah,
the receivers touch the ball, they can run forward then after
yeah,
a while of
but that is
retiring.
not gaining possession of it. So if they
Yeah.
just
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
that meets
Yeah.
the definition of intentionally played without gaining possession.
Yeah.
So they are all back onside again.
Yeah, got it.
And this
No
is
problem.
only the case if they are more than 10 meters away of where the ball lands. So 10.4C is in play still. So we still have that 10-meter law, if you were wondering where it went, because the players now have to retreat. Yeah. So if the players touch the ball, they still have to retreat that 10 meters.
Yeah.
Okay. They can only be put
Got
on
it.
side by their own teammates
Sure.
under the 10-meter law. And what happens if there's no player to put their teammates on side, i.e. the kicker is legally tackled with no support? I just spoke a little bit about this.
Well, then they've all got to retreat, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
All the players in front of the kicker must still retreat until they are put on side. So coaches must be aware of this while defending. So similar to defending against a 50-22 with the extra defender covering the space. So they have more players at the back now. So you'll need wingers to sit back a little more, creating more space in the game. So we're going to see a lot more running. There's a little video to example here now. So there's a kick. The defender's legally tackled him. So it's not late. All the players now have to retreat.
Oh yeah.
Nobody moved forward. So it took until this point now before anybody could tackle him, because nobody had moved forward and put everybody on side.
Yes, because he was the last player kicking it.
Exactly. Clear?
But
That's-
because the two laws will take it
that's
away now.
fine. So look
Yeah.
where the maroon player is now.
Mm.
So he's here. So all these players here are offside. Now the guys at the back are onside. There's the player there who was the kicker. And now these players are back onside and they can make the tackles again. Is that clear?
Yes, that movie made it clear.
Good.
That
Those are
video.
the only law changes that we're going to be going through. Actual law changes that are fixed at the moment. So when the ball goes into touch, think about this as well. What are the obligations for the players who are in front of the kick? So if the ball is still live, so if there's a quick throw on still, so you can put the quick ball in, then all those offside players still need to retreat. They can't benefit from hanging around. So if the ball's still live, they have to get back on side before they're allowed to tackle anybody. And that includes after the ball's been thrown back in again. So when a referee blows a whistle or an arm goes out, signaling a line out is to take place, that act makes the ball dead, and so the players can then move forward to the line of touch if they were originally in an offside position. And this is actually in a 2012 law application guideline. Okay. Yeah. So players in an onside position must be moving towards the onside teammates. So they must be moving. They must walk, jog, or run.
If you see that last video, if the maroon player kicked it out and blue takes a quick line out,
all the players in front are still offside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Until that player's put them back on side.
Mm.
Is that clear?
Yes.
It's going to be so much fun explaining this to forwards.
Yeah. You have to run that.
Question.
So they can walk.
Oh, we've got a question there.
Yeah. Where is the infringement? Where do we give the penalty on the pitch?
Where's the point of the offside that involves themselves in playing?
Cool.
Yeah. So think about that. Where was the offside originally done? So you haven't retreated. Where was that player originally offside? Take it from there, I would. Oh, no, I don't know. I'm going to stop sharing now.
So it's not from where the kick was made, but where the tackle was made offside.
Option with scrum.
scrum from the kick or a penalty from the where player was during the
It's
kick.
offside. What is the sanction for an offside?
Penalty.
Penalty. So the penalty be from where the player was offside originally,
Yep.
and then they have the option of the scrum if they want to take it.
Yeah. Only the free kick you can have the option.
Exactly.
Scrum.
Yep, as per the second law change.
Yeah.
Okay. That was all 3 of the law changes that are now fixed in law. So these won't change. These are in the law book now, up to date. You can read them online in the law book. Okay.
Yeah.
Have we got any questions on those 3?
No.
So the
No.
law, but the 9 and the tunnel.
Wait for that.
being
That's coming next.
implemented.
That's coming next.
Just calm down.
Calm down, Luke. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Then.
Let me just open this one. So now we have a number of global law trials, which we will be implementing this year. Let me do the same again. Okay, and this one will be a little bit simpler. So the 2025 law changes in global law trials. So in full law, July 24, we have the free kick is no scrum, in front of the kicker offsides, and the croc roll has now been banned. So those 3 are dealt with. We've gone through those already. And now we have a number of global law trials. So these will work on new competitions that start after the 1st of January 25. So we will be implementing these in Sweden. Okay. The TMO protocol, we don't have a TMO, so this will not. Yeah, there were a number of other trials marked from a kickoff and restart. We won't be doing that. We're scrapped. We couldn't take a mark from. You could allow a mark from a kickoff and restart. Maul stop only once. They've scrapped that as well. They're not going to go through it. And the 20-minute red card replacement is only being used in elite rugby and will be deferred to 2025 if we're going to use it in community rugby. So they're going to look at the how the elite rugby's gone with this and if it's manageable for community rugby that we play. Protocols last attacking phase means that the TMO can go back the whole of the last attacking phase, so all the way for that. So that's changed slightly, but we don't have to worry about that because we don't work with TMO. We do have 3 changes. One on timings. So the timings for conversions and line-out formations will change.
Yeah.
Penalties and for scrum, and not straight at the line out. We will play on if there's no contest, and we'll have a cleaner ball at the scrum, ruck and maul, and we'll go through that in a short period now. So first up, timings. Penalties are currently 60 seconds. So from when the penalty is given, if they want to kick a goal, 60 seconds on the shot clock, roughly, if you remember to time it. Because we are community rugby, we've got the watch on our wrists. Sometimes we're not too strict on this, but keep an eye on it. Keep it to 60 seconds. Conversions as well, 60 seconds from when the score is made. So that's a change from 90 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So they only get 60 seconds for the conversion now.
Yep.
Okay. Which means what do we need to keep a little eye on?
You watch.
I'll watch, and if a try's been scored, what might the opposition try and do?
Kick the ball away.
Take the ball. Yeah.
Put the ball away, keep the ball, throw it around, lie on top of the player. So be aware of this and stop the clock if you need to. Yeah, and you can always restart for 60 seconds. Set pieces line out within 30 seconds replaces without delay when forming a line out, and the sanction is a free kick. So this now matches the time set in law for a scrum, and within 30 seconds means forming a line out, which means everyone's in the line. So what do players do nowadays when they're forming?
They hang out the back.
They leave the back, and what do they do then? They all
Walk
it in, yeah. If they're not in that line within 30 seconds, so we're going to see less walking in the line out, which is one of my pet hates. So
thank God for that. Yeah, that drives me up the nuts too.
So if we free kick those the first couple of times, they're going to stop walking it in. They'll get in the line, throw the ball in, and we'll get on with the game quicker.
Yeah.
So actually, with this one here, the line out formation.
Yeah.
So you have 2 people on the line out, but the other 3 are down the back. You want them to move up as well, eh? You want everyone in the line out.
Everyone in the line out form within 30
In
seconds.
formation, yeah. Not
Yeah.
just two, for example, one at the point and one at the back. Everyone in the line out, right?
Within 30, yeah, ideally. We'll go to that now.
Yep.
So time is FAQs. At a conversion, does it have to be the same ball? No, it's okay to use a different ball if the first one is now unavailable. So if they do throw the ball away, they want to use a different ball, they now can.
Yeah.
Okay, to speed it up. What if you need to pause the 60 seconds at a kick and goal? So if there's an injury, replacement, TMO check, anything like this, and you stop the clock if needed, then you can allow up to 60 seconds when it's resolved.
Yeah. Or the
Okay.
ball's you're waiting for a ball as well.
But after 5 seconds, allow 55 seconds for put in. So if we've got to identify these to give the kickers the right amount of time to make the kick and not penalize them for this, what do we need to keep an eye on?
Sorry, I blanked out on there. What was that?
Yeah, I was reading something else.
If we've got to pause the clock for any time for injuries and replacements and TMOs, and we want to allow the kicker their full 60 seconds, which they are allowed from when the score is scored, and we don't want to have them rush things. Yeah, what do we need to keep an eye on?
Well, the time, and then also making sure that the ball is available to the kicker.
Yeah, when are we going to stop the clock?
As soon as we see what's happening.
So as soon
Injury
as
replacement.
to allow them that as much time as they need to kick it, what do we need to be aware of?
Our surroundings.
Our surroundings. So any injuries, replacements, TMO checks. So we need to spot them early. So be aware of your surroundings when you're doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
The line out, 30 seconds from when. So when either referee or AR makes the mark for the line out or the referee for the scrum. And if there is a genuine injury slowing the formation of a line out or a scrum, pause the time or delay setting the mark.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's from making the mark. So when you've made the mark, the AR's made the mark for the line out, you've got to the line out. So it's 30 seconds from then. And if there's an injury down, just delay making the mark, manage the time, use a bit of common sense. We're not playing in the World Cup, remember, yet. Okay, is that all clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Quick question.
What?
If both teams are late, what do we do?
If both teams are late, one of them's going to be late first.
Okay.
There you go.
What to sound?
Moving on.
Okay.
Cleaner play from ruck more than scrum. So law 15, there's a new law being in place to this trial. A player who is or was part of the ruck may not play an opponent who's near it. So within 1 meter is the definition of near it. And who is attempting to play the ball away. This is usually the scrum half. Maul, new law 1618. A player who is or was part of the maul may not play an opponent near it within 1 meter who is attempting to play the ball away. Again, sanction penalty. And the final one, scrum, same thing. Once play in the scrum begins, the scrum half of the team not in possession, A, takes up a position near the scrum, no further than the center line of the tunnel. B and C are unchanged. Yeah. So the 9 may take up a center line position in the scrum.
Yeah, no further. Let's stay there.
So the center line of the tunnel's there now. Now they're offside line in the scrum. Yep. However, the scrum can move, remember.
Yeah, he follows it, doesn't he?
So what we'll do, we'll have a look at a couple of videos. So we have look at the actions of white 13 on blue 9. Yep, can you see that? She was involved in the ruck.
In the ruck.
We'll show it one more time. Look, she's involved in the ruck. So she now plays the 9, playing the ball away. Before, she would have been onside because she was part of the ruck. Now she has to get herself back onside before she can play the 9. Because the 9 was here within 1 meter and playing the ball away.
It's going to piss a lot of flankers off.
Yes, it is. But they'll learn quick that one, I think.
What was the secondary for that?
It's a penalty for tackling without the early tackle.
It's early tackle, basically.
It's an early tackle. They're not allowed to hit that. Oh, they're offside, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So they cannot be in that position. So let's move that out of the way. So look at the actions of gold 3 on white 9. This will now be a penalty.
A week ago, and then Skenge driving over the 22. There's Daniela Tufo, who got his hands in the way.
So he was part of that ruck. We'll watch it one more time.
A week ago, and then
So here he comes.
Skenge
There, he's in the ruck.
driving over the
9.
22. Love this.
That is now penalisable. Clear?
Yes.
And one look at the scrum one. So new scrum offside line. The defending 9 can stay at the tunnel or move to anywhere on the back foot on his own back foot. So defending 9 is in blue. Staying around the area of the tunnel. See the black line now. So he can move to the back line. That's good position of where he's allowed to be. You can then retreat to the back line if you move anywhere along. Clear?
Oh, so it's not allowed to go past it anymore at all.
Yeah, so basically
Not past tunnel, no.
the ball away. Once they're more than 1 meter away, they're free game for everybody.
Once what?
Once they're more than 1 meter from the scrum, so if they pick and go and move 1 meter away from the scrum, the ruck or the maul, then they can be tackled by anybody.
What about like the pick and goes in the 5? Like basically when the forwards line up on the try zone, and they kind of go for a double tackle.
Well, look at this
on the
first
try
question
line.
here. What if the 9 steps away to box kick or picks and goes? When the ball is no longer near the scrum or maul, ruck or maul, open play begins. So onside players not involved in the ruck maul may move forward and tackle the 9 once they're in possession.
I'm sorry, Julian. I have a question regarding this scrum and scrum half in sevens, how it works.
Okay, exactly the same.
So
The half
1
player is-
meter, if one dominant ball is out, the scrum is over. So I have to keep like 1 meter. That's opposite position number 9 can't make a tackle.
Not until the ball's been lifted and passed, and if he's within 1 meter. If you're onside, if that opposition number 9 is at the halfway line in the scrum, sorry,
Yeah.
they're onside. As soon as that ball's lifted, that 9 can go forward and tackle them.
Yeah.
But they can't move. The ball is no longer the offside line. The halfway line point is.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Is that clear?
Yeah, once the ball's lifted, it's not a raw.
Not a more
ruck
than
anymore,
ball's
so
out,
away you go.
it's play on. So every
Yeah.
onside player can now attack them. However, if they're involved in the ruck and maul, they're technically offside now. So they
That's the
no longer
difference.
tackle it until the ball's been moved a meter away, and then it's open play again. Okay, so onside players not involved in the ruck and maul may move forward and tackle the 9 once they're in possession. So, can a player who is bound in the ruck or maul get to the 9 as the ball is passed away? No. While the scrum half is still near the ruck or maul. And this includes players who were originally bound in and then unbind. So if you're in the maul and you let yourself go, you need to get yourself back on side again.
Yep.
And is it just the player wearing shirt number 9 who's protected? No. It's whoever
Anyone who's playing the ball
away from that position. So it might be a number 8, it might be a flanker, it might be a centre, doesn't matter. So if a ruck participant's unbowed and fully retired to the back foot, can they then tackle the 9? Yes, they can. They're onside. So onside players not involved in the ruck or maul may move forward and tackle the 9 once the ball has been lifted and they're in possession. The all was in relates to players still in and around the ruck or maul who've not retired to the relevant offside line. Okay, so if they've been in the maul, they need to get themselves back on side if they've left it before they can rejoin the game. And can a player in a maul, when it ends, move to block a kick by the player who took the ball more than 1 meter from the ruck or maul? So yes, they can. So if the scrum half has moved the ball away from the maul, open play has now resumed. So a player who was always legal in that maul can be involved in play. And finally, any questions on that?
Nope.
No. What if there's a counter ruck that disrupts the 9? This does not change. Yeah, it does not change the impact to counter ruck legally. Okay, so you have to ask yourself that question. Was that a legal counter ruck? And did the action to play the 9 once they gain possession, are they attempting to play the ball away? Yeah. So is that a counter ruck, or is it an action of a player playing the 9? If it's a counter ruck, it's play on. And if it's somebody actually trying to play the player, what do?
Penalise them.
Penalise them. And we've got the offside. Okay. So you as the referees have to judge that fine line when there is a counter ruck. Is that legal? Has it just disrupted the 9? If it's just disrupted them, it's play on. If they've played that player to stop the ball getting away, an individual has done that, then it's penalisable. Any questions there?
Nope.
Oh, good. Move on then. Might be finished on time for you, Mike.
Good. I'm getting tired.
Cleaner play from the scrum. From frequently asked questions we've had. At the scrum, where should the non-throwing in 9 start? If they choose to have one, they should start near to the 9 throwing in the ball. Otherwise, they can start and remain on the 5 meter offside line, back with the players until the scrum ends. So they can go back 5 meters with everybody else, or they start next to the player throwing in the ball in. After the ball's been put in, where can the 9 go? 3 options. They stay close to the scrum at the tunnel. They go anywhere along the back foot offside line. So that's anywhere across the whole pitch. Or they go all the way back to the 5 meters line. If they go all the way back there, they need to stay back there until the scrum is over.
Okay.
Okay. And what if the scrum wheels? The tunnel remains the tunnel regardless of the angle, and the player should remain at that point. Or they can move to the back foot offside line or back 5 meters. So if the tunnel moves, the players can use that. Or they might have to retreat because of it. If it moves against them, they have to move back a few steps. If it moves for them, they can step forward a little bit, depending on the angle. Is that clear?
Mm.
Yeah, so take that into account when you're deciding if that 9 does go offside in any way. Is that clear now on the scrum, the ruck, the maul, and players playing the ball away, and what we penalise and when we do?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good. Line out not straight. This is the last one. So if the line out is not straight and it's uncontested, we play on. So the ball must be thrown in straight along the mark of touch towards a line out player. If the defending team are not lifted to compete for the ball, play shall continue.
Yeah.
If a defending team lift a teammate to compete for the ball, then they should be offered the option of a scrum or a line out, same as before. Yeah, but not straight. And if the line out's chosen, the ball again not thrown straight, a scrum's awarded as originally. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple of videos. So no intention by Green to compete for the ball. This would now be play on. So we'll watch this one. So Green do not compete.
Small.
Ball wasn't straight. This would now be play on. Are we going to show it again? No. So we'll see now. Ball's been thrown.
Oh, that's right down the middle. What is he talking about?
Hands are outside. You're saying that to see what that's.
I'm not one-eyed at all.
Yeah, so there's no competition there. You can now play on for those. No intention by Red to compete for the ball. We can play. This one. You can see
If they can't straight and back into the
Red up in the air. Yeah, you can see his arms are going outside. It's not straight. This would now be play on.
With the Chiefs have another excellent opportunity. Just
Okay, red haven't competed for the ball. We just play on. Clear?
Yeah, it's quite simple actually.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best laws they brought in, personally.
Yeah, so do I. I know they trialled it in Australia a few years ago. In this case now, if players lifted to complete, line out.
time on.
So here, player in the air competes, obviously not straight. Well, still it's not so straight anyway. Option for the line. So there is a competition there. Players will lift it.
Yeah.
And finally, same again here with the ladies' game.
Yeah. After that second try from France.
Ball goes up, obviously not straight.
Oh, it's deemed not straight.
France jump for the ball.
Try to play, but
So we have the line out or scrum option.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice and simple, yeah?
Yeah, that's easy.
That's what you think.
I've used it the last couple of weeks. The last couple of weeks I've been refereeing a couple of games and I've used it. There was no
The
problem.
line out not straight, play on if uncontested. So can the hooker just throw the ball to the receiver? No, they can't. Okay, the throw must still be straight to a player in the line out. So deliberately throw into the ball to the straight to the hooker is not allowed. Okay. Long and short throws, overthrow beyond the 15, and quick short throws to the front player still need to be straight regardless of competition. Scrum or line out option is not. Okay, so the short balls and the extremely long ones, where they're beyond the 15, which are looking for the on-running players, they still need to be straight. Okay, so they aren't included in this. Single player just jumps at the back. Is that enough? No. Any jumper has to be lifted to compete for the ball. So a player can't just jump. So a lift at any line-out position, front, middle, or back, will be deemed competition. So if they throw somebody up at the back and lift them at the back, and the ball goes to a jumper at the front, still competition. So if that's not straight, what do we do?
It's a line out for options for line out or scrum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We give the option line out or scrum. And remember the intent of the change. It's to remove an unnecessary second stoppage. So the reason for this law is if it didn't matter, we play on. So that's the main reason for it. So if you think it did matter in some way, we've got that option of always coming back and giving the options for not straight. Okay, so the opposition have opted out of the contested possession. Let them have the ball.
Great.
This happens from 1st of January 2025. So those three laws are all in place in Sweden as of the 1st of Jan.
Yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is that.
Sweet.
That's a cracking photo, that.
Two questions, Julian.
Yep.
Well, you will post this in our forum, I guess, and in and the links to it.
Yep.
How will the teams and coaches get this information?
They've been informed on the SRF website. All the clubs have been emailed that information, apparently, of the law changes. It's all up on the SRF website. It might be a bit old now, so we might need to refresh it and give a little poke. I'll ask the Tevlins committee to push that up there.
Cool.
Okay. Any questions before I stop recording?
I'll force it to the moon.
I know it's on your head.
You said any questions?
Thank you, guys.
Monray had a question. I'm pretty sure I saw his flash up.
Yep. What was that?
I don't know. I just saw it flash up. He raised his hand or something. Speak up. Or not.
It's shy.
Yeah. Does the ruck one involve pick and goes, basically the try zone, like forwards? Yes. So if you pick and go, you're moving away from the tackle there, Luke, so you can then tackle them. But you have to be onside to do it. So the players onside can then get them straight away. Players in the ruck won't be able to if they haven't moved more than a meter away.
But if you're in the ruck, but you're behind the try line, you're technically onside, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't go any further back, can you?
No. Well, there's the ruck
But it's the
mauls.
last
Rucks, mauls, tackles can only occur in the field of play. The
Yeah.
field of play goes from try line to try line, touch line to touch line.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions?
Well done, Mr. Julian.
I think I stopped recording already, didn't I?
I have no idea what you're doing.
No idea.
But I